If you just look into all the pleasures or joy that you get in life, from the world, from anything, they all come with a tax. You have to pay a tax for them. And this tax is sorrow. In this sutra, Patanjali says, Parinama tapa sanskara dukkha guna vritti virodascha dukkhamevam sarvam vivekina. Every event causes some pain. However, an event is pleasant, because an event finishes, ends. So the ending of an event, however pleasurable, joyful has been, comes to you with a little pinch. Pain comes. Greater the joy, greater the pain also. Isn't it? Parinama dukkha. This is called parinama. The effect, the result of an event leaves you in pain. Tapa dukkha, longing for an event, waiting for a pleasurable, pleasant event is again pain. Sanskara dukkha, the impressions of it, memories of it. Memories of a pleasure also brings pain. Memory of pleasure brings pain. So before you want something, you are that wanting, that feverishness to achieve what you want is all painful. When you have it, the fear of losing it is painful. When it is gone, the memory of its joy is painful. So the whole thing is all pain. So for a viveki, for an intelligent person, for one whose wisdom has awakened, he sees the whole thing as pain. See, there is nothing that is not pain. Sarvam evam dukkham viveki. Everything is painful. You say love is so beautiful, but love is also painful. How much close you can get? Bodies can get closer, but still it is not satisfied. Each soul wants to enter into the other body. How it can enter? How much it can enter? Not possible. It gets frustrated. Often a male takes a female body and female takes a male body in the next life. That is what is the craving or longing is there in the mind, more prominent. That's why in every male also you find a female, and in every female you find a male, because there is some impression from the last running through. Soul is not satisfied just by the physical body coming closer. It wants something more. It wants to merge. It wants to vanish and disappear. This is what you call love. In love there is two expressions. One is I want to disappear into you, or I want to eat you and you disappear. These are the two expressions that lovers say to each other. They don't know why they are saying. Says, oh, you are so sweet, I want to eat you up. Carnival, what you call it? Cannibals. Cannibalism. Love takes you to a cannibalism. Really, if that was possible, each one would do that, literally. Reduce their boyfriend or girlfriend into a small toy and then gulp it through. So there is no more worry whom they are looking into, where they are seeing, where they go. Whereas your mind is constantly engaged in looking at where your friend is, what they are doing, whom they are looking at. You become lovers become watchdogs after a while. Often when they come to the course, they don't meditate, they open it. Is my girlfriend meditating? How is she doing? Is she enjoying the course? I forced her to come to the course. Is she having good experiences? Many times we have to tell her, you keep your eyes shut. And you go deep, you meditate. Don't worry about your girlfriend. We will take care of her. If that was really possible, people would do that. They would swallow gulp their boyfriend or girlfriend through their throat. Keep them safe. I keep you in my heart. Physically they would do it. Keep them in the heart, very safe, or in the tummy. Can't look at anybody, do anything other than without one's permission. Can't leave you and go. Love also creates pain, tremendous amount of pain. Separation creates pain, tremendous amount of pain. A want, a wish creates tremendous amount of pain, pressure on the mind. And then trying to please one creates pain. And to know whether they are pleased or not pleased creates a pain. You want to know the mind of other person. How is it you don't know your own mind? And you want to know somebody else's mind? And it's impossible to know anybody's mind just by their words or their lips, movement of their lips and tongues. That's a tongue has no bone, so it can just move in any way it wants. It has no value. It has no loyalty. Tongue has no bone. It's not steady. Something it says today, tomorrow it says something else. You cannot trust your tongue, you can trust anything in the world. Doing somebody else what is their wish, sitting on it is painful. And you experience some good feelings, love and wonderful joy and all that thing, and then suddenly it's not there next moment, that's even painful. If you do spiritual practices, To do that, it needs an effort that is painful. If you don't do it, not doing it creates more painful. It's even more painful. Oh, I did not meditate, I don't feel good at all. When I meditate, oh, it's finishing. Not done enough, or no, it's not happening. Something. Something to complain. Sarvam evam dukkham vivekino. If you really look from the eyes of wisdom, there is not a bit in this creation which is devoid of pain. Pain is the tail of everything in the world. Comes along with anything you take it, you get a free coupon with it. Pain. Buy anything, you will get double. The double is pain coupon. Then the next sutra, then what do you do? When you realize that everything is pain, then how do you go ahead about, what do you do? You have to do something to stop this pain. How will you do it? Heyam dukkham anagatam. The root cause of pain needed to be eliminated. You need to eliminate the root cause of pain. That pain which has not yet come in life, that sorrow which has not yet sprouted, should be nipped off right at the beginning. How do we do that? Drishta drishtyo sanyogo heya hetu. Forgetfulness of oneself as separate from one's environment is the main cause of pain. The self, the seer and the seeing, the self and the object that is all around the self. Lack of perception of this, that me and this. You think this is me, then the problems begin. Usually we keep our life somewhere else. We don't keep our life in us. You know, there used to be these olden days stories that there used to be, after many islands, there used to be a small island, there used to be a fort in that small island, and in that island there is, in that fort there is a palace, in the palace there is a house, in the house there is somebody. Have you heard these stories? You know, seen this? See, the life of a king is in a parrot in some other place. So if this parrot is killed, the king will die there. Have you heard about this type of? These are all the stories in India that comes in all the magazines. I think in China also you have this type of stories. The king's life is not in king. The king will not die. Anybody do anything to him. It's like a Superman. If you have to kill the king, you have to go to that particular island. And then it's very hard to get into that fort. And then with all adventures, some Superman will get into the fort. And then there is a palace, and then the palace is full of cobras and all whatnot. Then he has to get past all that. It's all great thrill, you know. And then he goes, and then he gets into the underground, and underground suddenly a door opens, and then he gets in there, and there is a Some such story, it's more interesting. And then there is this cage, and in the cage is this parrot, and he has to go and just, and the cage is unapproachable. You cannot touch the cage. Because if you touch it, you may burn down. But without touching the cage, you have to kill the parrot. And then you kill the parrot, and then the king there somewhere would die. Or whatever, that will end. Comes a story. It means the life is not in oneself. The life is in somewhere else. In the bank account. We are not deposited just the money in the bank, but along with the money, one's life also. If the bank account closes or something happens, money goes, and then he has a heart failure. See? You see what I'm saying? Whatever you think as, you give more importance, any material thing you give more importance than life, that becomes the cause of suffering. Hey, hetu. So when you see the difference that the seer, the life, separates from surrounding. I am not the body. And through meditation you can do this experience. So what he says, Prakasha kriya sthiti sheelam bhutendriyatmakam bhogapavargartham drishyam. That doesn't mean you have to run away from this world. This world is here for your enjoyment. Patanjali is very clear on it. These beautiful sceneries are here for you to look at it. Great food is here is for you to eat and enjoy. The whole world is here for you to enjoy. But while enjoying, don't forget yourself. You are separate from that. This is Viveka. Do you see that? Prakasha, Kriya, Sthiti, Sheelam, Bhutendriyatmakam, Bhogapavargartam. This seen world is illuminating. Each thing gives you a message, conveys you a message, gives you an idea of how great the consciousness is. Every aspect in this world is an expression of consciousness. And everything is active. Prakasha means manifesting. Everything has manifested of a consciousness. They manifest. Flowers come up. Kriya. Everything in this universe is dynamic. They are not static. There is nothing that is static. Even the mountains appear to be static, but they are not static. They are all dynamic. Every atom is dynamic in this universe. Sthiti means they all undergo certain stages of evolution. Everything has a stage. Has a state. And everything is governed by certain principles, certain qualities. Bhutendriyatmakam. The entire creation is made up of 5 elements. 5 elements and 5 sense organs. 5 organs of perception and 5 organs of action. These are 10 organs. The entire creation is endowed with these 10. Plus mind, you take mind also as one another organ. Bhogapavargartam. This entire creation is there to give you pleasure and relief. Whatever gives you pleasure should also give you relief. Do you see what I am saying? Otherwise, the very pleasure becomes pain. It's like, say, you like apple pie, and 1, 2, 3 apple pie, you love it. You would do anything in your life to have an apple pie. Or what other thing? Gulab jamun, something. Okay, you have it. But 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fifth one already becomes a little too much. And then another 7, 8, 10, 12, 30. No, the same thing which gave you pleasure is now make you suffer. And if you are forced to eat 20 apple pie, you will hold your head and say, oh my God, I want relief from this. I want to get away from this. Enough is enough. I cannot hold anymore. Same thing, music. Okay, you like beautiful music. How long can you enjoy music? 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. If someone puts 24 hours music for 7 days a week, and you say, oh please, can you shut this off? That wonderful music which gave you so much pleasure, if it's overdone, brings you pain. So that has to give you a relief also. Do you see that? So the entire creation does give you enjoyment and liberation and relieves you. Up over here, liberation. You have to get yourself liberated from all these at some time or other, otherwise that thing will become pleasure. The pleasure becomes pain. Then he goes on describing how there are grades in this. There are certain things, sattvic, certain things, rajasic, certain things, tamasic. Tamasic things bring more dullness. Rajasic creates more activity. Sattvic objects, things bring more light and more freedom. See? Like if you take food, nice, if you take apple pie, it's good for your health and gives you pleasure. But if you go into drugs, it just entraps you and doesn't seem to be giving pleasure to begin with, but gives you only pain, only suffering. And it's hard to get out of it. So that's like a tamasic thing. So sattvic, tamasic, rajasic, the 3 grades, and the whole creation is made up of these 3 gunas, 3 natures. Certain food you take makes you more dull, certain food makes you more agitated, certain food like this. Activity, everything is from these 3 different gunas. And there are some specialities about it. All those details are there. The creation is made up of so many details. Then says, Drishta Drishimatra Shuddhopi Pratyayanu. The self, though it is ever pure, untainted, he is just a witness. But when he becomes one with the buddhi, the intellect, then he gets colored. He appears as though he is colored. Like somebody who is stuck in their intellect. They just stick to their thoughts and ideas as though it is their own. And they suffer a lot. The self is the center of the whole creation. So next sutra says, Tadartayeva Drishyasya Atma. Though this world does not exist for one who is realized, enlightened, like the way it exists for one who is not enlightened, the world continue to exist with its opposites. For one who have awakening knowledge, there is no more suffering for you. The world appears completely different. For you, every inch of this creation is filled with bliss or part of the self. But for the others, it does exist as they see it. So, though you have realized and not seeing this world as separate from yourself, part of yourself, it doesn't exist for you, but for some others, it does exist. It's like you have come out of the aeroplane and or come out of the bus. For you, the journey is over, but the aeroplane keeps moving, the bus keeps going. The bus still goes because it takes somebody else. But for you, the journey is over. But just because your journey is over, the bus does not stop. The bus continues. Is that clear? Kritartam prati nashtam anashtam tadanya sadharanatva swaswami shaktiyo swarupopalabdhi hetuhu sanyogaha. There is a power of nature. This is, we should go into this scripture. Like your body is made up of three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. And these three gunas, they act accordingly. Accordingly the thoughts come, accordingly behavioral pattern, many things happen in the world. And it attracts accordingly the events, situations, circumstances around it. There are tamasic guna dominant, it creates more dullness, sleep, lethargy. There is rajasic guna dominating, you may be in a different atmosphere, but wherever you are, your mind is restless, is full of desires, with anguish, and it gallops on that horse. And if the mind is dominated by sattva, then your mind is very alert, sharp, joyful, enthusiastic. All these qualities come out. Now, when these three gunas act in your body according to their nature, time, place, whatever, many reasons, identifying yourself as this, oh, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am a dull person, I am a lethargic person, I am this, I am that. This is again ignorance. Are you getting what this is? Observing the tendencies that come up in you and not think you are those tendencies. Because guna vritti bheda, because this guna, the nature, it will work with its nature. There is another story. There was a very great monk who lived in Himalayas, and he had free access anywhere he goes because people loved him and welcomed him. And this monk used to go to the palace, king's palace, and have his lunch there every day. Once a day he used to go there, have lunch. You have heard this too? Okay, he used to go and have his lunch, and the queen would serve him lunch in golden plate and cup and all that. He would just go eat there and then walk away. This was a routine. And once, what happened, after his meal, he just grabbed a silver glass there and a golden spoon. He just grabbed it and took it with him and went. Didn't even tell anybody, I'm taking this, I want this or anything. Now people in the palace noticed this. The queen noticed. He would never take anything anytime, but what has happened today? He took this thing with him. That without telling anybody. He just put it into his bag and left. And 3 days later, he brought back that cup and spoon and left it there. This was even more puzzling. Before they thought, okay, maybe he needed it, he just took it. No, he came back and put it back. It's again more puzzling. Then the king called all the wise people and put an inquiry. Why this happened? Why did he take it and why did he bring it back? Then they said, the wise people, pandits and all those people said, okay, find out what did you feed him the previous day or 2 days back. So they found out and all that thing. Then they found out they fed him the food which they confiscated from some robbers, some dacoits. But there's some few dacoits were arrested a couple of days ago, and they confiscated a lot of grains and stuff and food stuff, everything from them. And then that was made, cooked and served to the saint, and that made him to rob things away. The ancient days, people used to look into those things, that if somebody does things which are very unusual, then they go into the root cause of it. Why? Instead of accusing this man, this monk has started stealing, found out what made the monk steal the food, and who cooked the food, and what was wrong in the food, what happened. Went into that detail. And then find the root, oh, this is the cause. That is why it happened. Tasya heturavidya. If you think these vrittis are yours, that is ignorance. And what is the way to come out of the ignorance is a definite understanding, definite knowledge in the mind that my body is undergoing change all the time. The world is undergoing change all the time. The entire universe is in the form of fluids, is in the state of fluidity. And it is all full of change, and it is going on its own according to its nature. This definite knowledge that I am not the body, I am the self, I am the space, I am the imperishable, untouched, untainted by the Prakriti, by this world around me. This body is all hollow and empty. And every particle in this body is changing and changing and changing and changing. The mind is changing and changing and changing. This definite knowledge is the way out of this cycle. Jai Jai Radha Ramana